There are some serial killers. They don't direct their hatred at just one person. Their anger isn't individual, it's collective. They target homes, windows with lights on, families eating together. In Ukraine's small towns in the mid-1990s, people locked their doors at night and went to sleep. But for someone, those doors were only the beginning. His name was Anatoly Onoprienko. The newspapers gave him another name, the Ukrainian Beast. Anatoly's life had shattered from the very beginning. He lost his mother when he was 1 year old. After this tragic death, his father left him in an orphanage. But Anatoly's older brother stayed with their father. This feeling of abandonment turned over the years into an obsessive hatred of families. He received psychiatric treatment from time to time. He was 30 years old when he committed his first murder. But Anatoly would not be satisfied with a single victim. After 1995, his method changed. He was no longer targeting lone individuals, but entire families. Just before midnight, or before dawn, he entered isolated houses, gathered the family members together, and fired a 12-gauge shotgun. Then he looted the house and set it on fire. At the crime scenes, torn family photographs were often found, as if he wanted to destroy not only people, but the very idea of family. In December 1995, the first mass killing took place. A teacher, his wife, 2 small children. They were all killed in their own home. This massacre was only the beginning for the Ukrainian Beast. Within days, other families were wiped out. Families of 4, families of 5 children. Sometimes witnesses who tried to flee were also shot. Sometimes neighbors, sometimes a passerby. Some houses were burned. Some victims were shot with a gun. Some children were killed with blows from an axe. The killer was leaving a trail between cities: Zhytomyr, Bratkovichi, Fastova, Olevsk, and Malina. The same signature in every city: mass death, a burned house, and scattered family photos. This was no longer a series of murders. It was the birth of a monster, the birth of the Ukrainian Beast. While the people of Bratkovichi lived in fear, Ukraine's largest manhunt in history began. Police were simultaneously assigned across the crime scene regions. National Guard units were also sent to the area. Armored vehicles, heavy weapons. The town practically turned into a war zone, but the killer was like a ghost. He went in without leaving a trace and came out without leaving a trace. The killer's end didn't come through a police operation. It came through a family dispute. He was staying at a relative's house. The family found hidden weapons in the room. An argument broke out between the killer and the family. In the end, he was thrown out of the house. As he left the family with a threat. "Not right away. On Easter Day, I will punish you. Until then, stay in fear," he said. The family reported this threat to the police. And on Easter Day, Anatoly Onoprienko, known as the Ukrainian Beast, was finally caught. The weapons found in the house, stolen items, and other evidence linked to earlier murders. Everything fell into place. After being taken into custody, the Ukrainian Beast wanted to speak to a general, and in the end, he confessed. He said he had committed a total of 52 murders. According to his own statement, voices from above were guiding him. Were those voices from above God? Were they aliens? Even he wasn't sure. But the killer was sure of one thing. He believed he was a phenomenon of nature, that he stood out by his very nature, and that he had the power to influence the masses. He said scientists should study him. The court's decision was clear. Anatoly Onoprienko was found guilty and he was sentenced to death. But before the execution could take place, the death penalty was abolished in Ukraine. The Ukrainian beast's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. According to official records, 52 victims. But the gaps between 1989 and 1995 are still a question mark. There were also unsolved murders in other countries he had previously been to. Maybe the number of murders would never be known exactly. Anatoly Onoprienko targeted not only individuals, but the concept of family. For him, a home wasn't a warm nest, it was a stage. A serial killer can choose a single victim. But when this killer targeted a family, he left behind not only bodies, but a destroyed future. And in some towns, when doors are locked at night, this question is still whispered. What if the one knocking at the door is an enemy of the family?